For years, I've been saying to people, so today I took the largest gold mine in America public this summer. It was ODV out of Utah. I've been a gold bug ever since because I'm still singing "We're on the Eve of Destruction" in my head, and I like silver and all this. And I tell people, look, just buy one silver. Here's a silver $50. It's about $35 or so. I said everybody can afford this, but they'd rather hang on to cash.
Right now, as you know, for the middle class of the world, we're in a crash. The purchasing power of the yen, the euro, the rupiah, all going down. And people are working harder and harder and harder, and the central banks of the world are printing more money. Interest rates, Trump just told the Fed, don't you raise those interest rates. Well, that screws all the savers.
They're just not reinvesting in more production.
Correct.
And all that's going to do is raise the price of oil. And, my degree is in oil. I went to Merchant Marine Academy in New York, and I sail for Standard Oil.
Right. And
when Biden took the Keystone Pipeline offline, I made more money. But he also made America poor.
Correct.
That's why you can be optimistic about the debt and all this stuff. But my challenge, Rick, has been to get somebody to let go of the cash and say convert some of that cash, like you say, to something they cannot print. Do you know what I mean? Have some silver. Oh, no. Silver doesn't get any interest. I said, exactly what you just said. Well, inflation's at 7 and they're paying you 3. Or 4. You're still losing 3. How come they can't get that, Rick? Why can't they get that?
All over the world, what does school teach you about money? And the answer is nothing. And that's not a mistake. That's not an accident. I knew that. Most people know that. But the way to keep the poor and middle class working hard is never teach them what the rich know. So if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which came out in 1997, it's what the rich teach their kids about money, the poor and middle class do not. And I had already retired. I made enough money at 47, so I didn't have to work again for the rest of my life. And I said, now what do I do with the rest of my life? And so that's when I came out with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the cash flow game, because poverty hurts. I don't like it. And I don't like that our academic system's so corrupt. We know the banking system. We know politics is corrupt. But academics is just as corrupt.
I was talking to this friend of mine. He's got 3 kids and all this, and he's a hardcore saver of cash. And I said, why don't you just buy a silver coin? It's 30. Oh, man. He would rather save cash than a silver coin. So, see, my whole point is, Rick, all I do is when I have cash flow from properties. So I have income. I have lots of income. And most of my friends, their problem is what to do with the cash. Does that make sense to you? So naturally, there's Battle Bank, they can put it in their investments. But it's getting to the point we have these 2 classes of people, rich and people with cash and people with no cash. That's where we are today. And that's where, in my opinion, on the eve of destruction. And I just can't understand why people hang on to cash when you look at the stats, look at the math.
Why would you save it and why would you work for it if they can print it faster than you can work for it? And number 2 is they keep dropping the interest rates. Japan still has zero interest rate policy. And the Japanese are the biggest savers in the world. And I'm Japanese, I'm 4th generation. They're not too bright. Why do you keep saving when they're printing it? When I'm in Japan, that's what I mean by fear. They're so afraid because the Japanese, they're very good culture, but they do as they're told. And then they just save money, and their government, this guy Abenomics, is just printing trillions of it and buying ETFs with it, and they don't know what to do.
My poor dad was a PhD, went to Stanford, Northwestern University, Chicago, but that's why he was poor. Anyway, but my rich dad never went to school. So, he went to school up to 13. So he kept everything simple. He says, that's like trying to pay what you're talking about with the debt and all this, that's like trying to pay your mortgage with your credit card.
Right.
That's exactly what we're doing.
An asset is a noun, like a house. Cash flow is a verb. So to understand if it's an asset or liability, it takes a noun plus verb. So if the cash is flowing out of your pocket, it's a liability. If the cash is flowing into your pocket, asset. So I own 7,000 rental properties. Those are assets. Every month, the cash flows in. Whereas many people have the big house on the hill and the cash is flowing out.
So after about 4 years of just pumping money into the system, it's running out of the system right now. It's called a 3 times crash. The first crash is going to be stocks and bonds, and that's the 401k and IRAs for many of the boomers. Number 2 is real estate. Home prices are dropping because interest rates are up. And number 3 is cash. When they print money, cash, the value of cash goes down. And my concern is there might be a run on the banks. People just want to get their cash out, or the banks may freeze your money. So these are very precarious times, and they're not normal, definitely not normal.
First of all, let's go back to what is financial education. It's not get a job, work hard, save money, and invest in a well-diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. That's not it. Money is, the financial industry is 2 things: debt and taxes. Debt and taxes. And that's where thing starts. 1971, Nixon took the dollar off the gold, and the U.S. dollar became debt. And we still tell kids to go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, and get out of debt. Now, who tells them to do that? That's the most ridiculous thing there is.
This is a global recession. And the trouble is the balloon is coming down. And so they're trying to pump it back up again by printing and all the stuff they do, but they can't stop it.
This is what's going on in the world economy today. We're fighting a 12-year war now. Entitlements are going through the roof. National debt to GDP is 109 in America, 109%. 90% is too late. We have to keep printing. This is called bubblenomics, and this is what's going to happen.